By the seventh night, I stopped pretending I was imagining it. There's only so long you can explain away the same sound, the same scent, the same tightening of the air before denial becomes its own kind of madness. The building had its normal rhythms, neighbors leaving for work, doors opening and closing, distant laughter in the hallway. But underneath those ordinary noises, there was another pattern, one that belonged to someone, something older than the concrete and drywall. Every night, sometime after midnight, the stairwell would wake, not with chaos, with patience. A slow creak, spaced out, like footsteps measured by ritual then, rather than urgency. The whisper of fabric that followed was always the same, soft and deliberate, as though the air itself were being brushed aside by a gown that had never learned how to stop moving. I barely slept. When I did, my dreams were full of staircases that never ended, steps folding downward into fog, the world narrowing into a corridor of descent. Sometimes I would wake with the scent of lavender in my nose, so vivid it felt like someone had leaned close enough for their perfume to cling to my skin. I began leaving lights on, not because they helped, but because darkness made it feel too easy for her to exist. On the eighth morning, I found something that finally broke whatever fragile barrier remained between story and reality. A single footprint, not in dirt, not in mud, in dust. Outside my apartment door, where the hallway carpet met the stairwell corridor, there was a faint impression, as if something had stepped it there and then lifted away. The shape was indistinct, but it was narrow, old-fashioned in its suggestion, like the outline of a shoe that didn't belong in this century. My stomach turned. I crouched there for a long time, staring until my eyes ached. The footprint wasn't proof in the way people want proof to be. It was too subtle, too easy to dismiss. But I knew what it meant. She was not only descending in the stairwell anymore, she was moving through the building, carried, spreading. That evening I called the collector again. He answered quickly, as if he'd been expecting me. "You've kept it," he said. "I tried to return it," I replied, voice tight. "But something's wrong." The photograph changed. There was a pause, heavy with recognition. "It always does," he murmured. "The more you look, the more it becomes." I swallowed hard. "What is she?" The collector exhaled slowly, as if the question itself was dangerous. "At Raynham Hall, they called her a ghost," he said. "A woman trapped in grief, forever walking the stairs, but grief is only the surface. What people saw was the ritual, the repetition. They thought the haunting belonged to her." "And it doesn't?" I asked. "It belongs to the descent," he said softly. The words made no sense, and yet they struck something deep inside me with cold clarity. "The descent," I repeated. He hesitated, then continued. "Staircases are thresholds, between floors, between levels, between what is above and what is below. Old houses understood that. That's why so many legends gather around stairs. They were places of movement, of transition, and sometimes something uses that." My mouth ran dry. "You're saying she's not the only one," I whispered. "I'm saying she may be the visible part," he replied. "The veil, the figure people recognize, but the thing she is tied to, the thing waiting below." He didn't finish. He didn't have to. That night I couldn't stay inside. The apartment felt suffocating, every corner full of imagined fabric and perfume. I left before midnight, walking the city streets under harsh streetlights, trying to outrun a presence that wasn't chasing so much as simply existing. I told myself that distance would help, that being away from the building, away from the stairwell, away from the photograph locked in my drawer, would loosen whatever connection had formed. But even outside, the world felt altered. Every set of steps I passed made my skin prickle. Subway entrances descending into darkness, fire escapes clinging to brick walls, staircases leading down into basements, restaurants, and bars. The city was full of descents, endless opportunities for thresholds. Near 1 in the morning, I found myself standing outside an hotel downtown, one of those places that had survived too many decades. Its lobby lit warmly, but its bones full of history. I don't know why I stopped there. Maybe because I needed to prove something to myself that the brown lady was tied to my building, to the photograph, to one place. The hotel entrance was quiet. Through the glass, I could see the staircase at the far end of the lobby, carpeted in deep red, curving upward into shadow. I stared at it too long. The air around me tightened, and then, impossibly, I caught the faintest movement on the stairs, a blur, a drifting suggestion of fabric. My heart seized. She was there, not in my building, not in my home, here, across the city, descending, slowly, patiently. The scent of lavender reached me even through the glass, faint but unmistakable, like a hand brushing my face. I stumbled backward, breath dragged. This wasn't about the photograph anymore, or rather it was, but not because the photograph contained her, because it revealed her. Because once you see her, once you name her, once you notice the descent, you begin to find her everywhere, or perhaps she begins to find you. I turned away from the hotel, walking quickly, then faster, my footsteps loud on the pavement. The city felt suddenly full of hidden stairwells, full of places where something could be moving downward in endless repetition. And behind that thought, colder than fear, came another. If she could appear anywhere, then the question wasn't where she was descending. The question was, what was waiting at the bottom? I didn't go back to my apartment that night. I couldn't. The idea of stepping into the hallway again, of passing the stairwell door with its steady bulb and its silent patience, felt like walking willingly into a ritual I no longer understood. Instead, I drove until the city thinned into quieter streets, then parked outside my friend's place and sat there with the engine off, staring at nothing. The world around me was still, ordinary, but inside my chest, everything churned with the same unbearable question. What was she descending toward? Near dawn, exhaustion finally dragged me into sleep, head resting against the car window. My dreams were not dreams so much as continuations, staircases folding into each other like ribs, steps spiraling downward into black water, the air thick with lavender and dust. I could hear her ground brushing stone, the softest sound in the world and the most terrifying. I never saw her face. I never needed to. Her presence was enough, sorrow heavy as gravity. When I woke, the sky was pale and colorless. My phone buzzed with missed calls. One voicemail from the collector. His voice was strained, almost breathless. "It's worse," he said. "It's not staying contained. I thought giving it away would end it, but I think it only moves. It only spreads." Listen to me carefully. Do not destroy the photograph. Do not burn it. Do not tear it. That isn't how this works. You can't break a window by shattering the air. The only thing you can do is close it. Close it. I stared at the phone, numb. How do you close something like that? I went to my friend's apartment after sunrise. He opened the door looking pale, his eyes shadowed with the same sleeplessness that had hollowed me out. "You saw her somewhere else," he said immediately. I nodded. He stepped aside, letting me in, and for the first time I noticed how his own space felt subtly wrong. Not haunted, not dramatic, but tense, as if the air was holding its breath. "She's not tied to one building," I murmured. "No," he agreed. "She's tied to you now." The words landed hard. We sat at his kitchen table with coffee neither of us drank. The collector's envelope lay between us like an accusation. My friend had brought it back from my apartment early that morning, refusing to leave it there. "I couldn't sleep," he admitted. "I kept thinking about it, sitting in your drawer." like leaving a candle burning in an empty room. I stared at the envelope. I saw something else in the photograph, I said quietly. A shadow at the bottom of the stairs. My friend's face tightened. I didn't tell you this, he said slowly, but the collector mentioned something when he first found it. He said the photograph wasn't the beginning. It was a moment, a slice, and what people never ask is what comes after the descent. I felt my throat constrict. What comes after, I repeated. My friend nodded once, grim. That's why the story spreads, because everyone focuses on her, the veil, the woman, the grief. But maybe she's not the threat, maybe she's the warning. The warning. The thought made my skin crawl. We spent the day searching through the letters again, reading them more carefully, looking for anything we'd missed. Most were fragments of fear wrapped in polite language, people trying to describe the impossible without losing themselves. Then, near the end of the last letter, I found a line I hadn't noticed before. It was faint, almost an afterthought, written smaller than the rest. She descends because she is not allowed to stop. She is leading, not wandering, leading. I stared at the window until it blurred. My friend leaned closer. Leading to what? I didn't answer because the answer was forming in me like ice. If the brown lady was leading, then something was following. That evening, as the light outside faded, we heard it, not from the stairwell, not from outside, from inside my friend's apartment building, a slow creak, then another, measured, patient, descending. My friend's eyes widened. No, he whispered. No, it can't be here. But it was. The scent came next, blooming softly through the room, lavender and dust, unmistakable and unimpossible. My stomach dropped. We hadn't brought the photograph back to my apartment. We'd brought it here. The window had moved. The descent had followed. My friend stood abruptly, chair scraping the floor. We have to get rid of it. We can't destroy it, I said, remembering the collector's warning. Then what? He snapped, voice cracking. We just keep passing it around until it ruins anyone. The creaking continued, closer now, as if whatever was moving through the building had all the time in the world to find the exact staircase it wanted. My breath came shallow. I realized then that this wasn't haunting in the way people imagine it. This was infection, attention as contagion, the story itself as a carrier, and we were participating. The stair sound stopped suddenly. Silence felt so hard it felt like pressure. Then, from the hallway outside my friend's apartment door, came the softest whisper of fabric brushing carpet. My friend froze. I couldn't move. The doorknob began to turn, not violently, not forced, just slowly, as if whoever stood outside expected the door to open, expected to be welcomed. The scent was overwhelming now. Lavender, old sorrow, the veil at the threshold, and beneath it, the unbearable sense that she was not arriving alone. She was leading something up from below. The doorknob turned with unbearable patience, not the frantic jiggle of someone locked out, not the aggressive force of an intruder. This was slow, deliberate, almost courteous, as if whoever stood outside understood the ritual of thresholds. My friend's apartment was silent except for her breathing, shallow and uneven. The envelope lay on the kitchen table between us, sealed now as if paper could pretend innocence, but the scent of lavender had thickened into something suffocating, an antique sweetness that didn't belong in a modern building. My friend's voice came out as a whisper, "Don't open it." "I'm not moving," I whispered back. The knob continued to turn, then stopped. Silence. For a moment I thought it might end there, that whatever presence lingered in the hallway would drift away, continue its descent elsewhere. But then, from the other side of the door, came the faintest sound, not knocking, not speech, the whisper of fabric brushing against the wood, as if someone leaned close enough for their gown to touch the surface. My skin went cold. I imagined her standing there, veiled in instinct, half mist, half memory, waiting with endless sorrow, but beneath that image, another thought pressed harder. The letters had said she was leading. Leading what? My friend's eyes were fixed on the door, wide and unblinking. He looked like a man watching the tide come in, knowing it cannot be argued with. The knob turned again. This time the latch clicked. The door began to open, just a crack. A thin line of darkness appeared, and with it came a wave of cold air that smelled of damp stone and old perfume, like the breath of a basement that had been sealed for a century. My friend stepped forward instinctively, slamming his palm against the door, forcing it shut. The impact echoed down the hallway. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the creaking began. Not footsteps on carpet, stairs. Somewhere in the building, slow creaks sounded, one after another, descending. The rhythm was unmistakable. She wasn't outside the door anymore. She was in the stairwell, moving downward, always downward. My friend's face drained of color. "She's not coming in," he whispered, voice trembling. "She's going down." The realization hit me like ice water. The door wasn't the point, the stairs were. She wasn't trying to enter the apartment. She was continuing the descent. And we were close enough now to hear it. The creaks moved lower, step by step, fading deeper into the building's bones until finally there was only silence again. My friend exhaled shakily. "We have to stop this. We have to close it, like the collector said." "How?" I asked, though the question felt hopeless. We stared at the envelope, Raynham Hall. The words hung between us. "You think we have to take it back?" I whispered. "I think it never should have left," he replied. "If the story began there, maybe that's where it can be sealed again." I almost laughed at the absurdity. Fly to England, carry a haunted photograph across the ocean, walk into Raynham Hall like tourists with a curse in an envelope. And yet, the alternative was worse, because wherever we carried it, the descent followed. That night, we didn't sleep. We sat with the lights on, the envelope locked inside a metal box my friend found in his closet, as if steel could do what paper couldn't. Hours passed in tense quiet, no more creaks, no more perfume, just the waiting. Near dawn, my friend's phone buzzed. A message from the collector, only 3 words. "She isn't alone." My stomach turned. I stared at the screen, feeling something cold spread through my chest. "She isn't alone," I repeated aloud. My friend looked up sharply. "What does that mean?" I didn't answer, because in that moment, the air in the room shifted. The scent returned, lavender, dust, and something else beneath it, something damp and mineral, like earth turned over in darkness. The metal box on the table began to tremble, and not violently, just subtly, as if something inside had shifted its weight. My friend stirred so fast his chair toppled backward. "No." The trembling stopped. Silence. Then from inside the box came the softest sound imaginable, the whisper of fabric, not outside, inside. My breath caught. The photograph wasn't a window anymore, it was a door, and something on the other side was learning how to open it. The lid of the box lifted slightly, just enough for darkness to show through the seam. My friend backed away, shaking his head. "We have to get it out of here, now." I nodded, unable to speak. But before either of us could move, the room grew colder, the light seeming to dim without changing. The scent became overwhelming, filling my lungs with old sorrow. And then, in the corner of the kitchen near the doorway that led to the hallway, the air began to blur. A shape formed, not fully, just the suggestion of a woman draped in brown, descending. Except there were no stairs beneath her. She was simply appearing. For the first time, she lifted her veiled head slightly, and I felt it, not eyes, not a gaze, an emotion, vast and crushing, grief, endless, and beneath it, something else, purpose. She was leading. and whatever waited below was ready to follow her up.